Hey everybody, I just wanted to go over our weekly routine. First, I rewash all the syringes. We only get so many a month from insurance, so I need to make sure I'm rewashing them and drying them overnight to be able to use them for the next week. Basically, I feel like I'm doing meal prepping, but it's actually medication prepping for the week, which is way different. Because Kason gets medications twice a day, I do this prepping so that I never miss a dose, miss a medication, or flat out think, oh my gosh, did I give that to him already or did I not? I can't remember because I don't have a pill planner like I do for myself where I can look back and say, oh yeah, I did take it, or oh nope, I didn't. With this, it's that verification to make sure he's getting his medications and that they're not missed. Also, when he goes to a babysitter's house, it's already prepared, and they don't have to draw anything up or think about it or mess anything up. This is just a sure way of making sure he always gets what he needs. Once they're all dry, I start putting the syringes together. Then I pull out a permanent marker and start writing on each syringe. Because I have to make the syringes last a full month, I write each week on them so I know which one has been used how many times. So if there's a 3, I'll mark it off and write a 4. This helps me to make sure I'm using each one 5 times since there's usually about 5 weeks in a month. This just assures I always have syringes for each week because sometimes you don't get them on time or the shipments are late or sometimes they're in back order. You never know. By the time I get to 5 weeks, a lot of the syringes are usually really hard to push or pull, and the numbers on the sides are usually faded off. So I usually discard them by then and wait for the next shipment. Now comes the fun part, drying up all the medications. First, you need to make sure you have a stopper in each medication bottle, a syringe, and a little medication cup to be able to pull everything up. So I pull up each medication separately and put it all in the cup and then put it in one syringe. One syringe is for 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. One of the medications he takes is for the bladder. He has a neurogenic bladder, which is a disorder where the brain, nerves, and spinal cord get interrupted and no longer send and receive the correct signals. In Kason's case, it was noticed after his spina bifida diagnosis. A neurogenic bladder is not curable, but it can be managed with medications and catheterization. For Kason, he needs to be cathed since he has a leaky bladder, kind of like an old lady that pees when they cough or sneeze, kind of like that as an example. But even though he leaks, he doesn't actually completely empty. Since he doesn't completely empty, he also has risks for UTI. For that reason, he also takes a prophylactic, which is a low-dose antibiotic to prevent UTIs from forming. This doesn't 100% work, but it does help a lot. We actually recently switched from one antibiotic that he had been taking for a few years, and it was like a nice, bright, like thick pink color, kind of like bubblegum looking. Now he takes this like really bright fluorescent green colored antibiotic, and because it's an antibiotic, I do put it in its own syringe, so you'll see that also later in the video. Then he also takes something for sleep, and that medication does need to stay refrigerated, so it is kept in its own syringe, and it's all kept in the fridge once I've drawn it all up. He also takes something for allergies because we have noticed that sometimes he has a less seizure activity when he does take an anti-allergy medication, so it's really helped him. Last but not least are the 2 most important medications, which are the anti-seizure medications. Kason has epilepsy, which has finally been pretty well controlled by medications. Kason was classified as having refractory epilepsy, which pretty much means drug-resistant epilepsy, which is when you fail 3 or more medications, I believe it was, and he has tried about 5 different medications and a few different types of combinations before we found the right fit. Kason has clonic seizures that are classified as rhythmic jerking movements. For Kason, it starts either in his left hand or his right side of his face, like the lips, tongue, nose area. So this is part of everything I do every single week for med prepping. It takes a while, but it's got to be done. Another part I wanted to mention is the stuff with like the pharmacies and the doctor's offices and stuff and how they don't communicate well sometimes. And there are times when we've run at risk to running out of medications, especially the seizure medications, because those are the most important and we definitely cannot miss those. Usually I put in for all the medications to be done so I can pick them all up on the same day, and there have been a few times each year where I have a problem with just one of his medications because it is a controlled substance. Because of this, it can only be filled so many months in advance. And so when we're at the end of the refills and I'm not aware because you know what, life is busy and I don't look at the stupid bottles to know when the refills are due. And sometimes there's just mess ups anyways where it doesn't even matter if there's refills or not because either the order wasn't put in correctly with the right liquid amount or something. But most of the time it's actually because they do not keep that medication in stock at their facility. I've asked many times over the last few years that they keep the medication in stock always because we always pick it up every month and they always have to order it out. And so sometimes we get really close to missing the medication, which is super scary. Missing the medication means risk of seizure and going to the hospital and needing to take rescue meds, which is all very expensive. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope this brings some awareness to people just because it's, one extra task out of many that a lot of special needs parents need to go through to manage their life with their child. So it just brings great awareness, I think. And thank you for watching and subscribe to our channels. Always remember to have kindness for everyone that you meet as you never know what they're going through. And thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a blessed day and that the next day is even better for you.